I don't give a shit about ETH at all economically. I think people are very utopic and naive in many ways in the system, but I don't think everyone that's involved in ETH is like a bad person or a bad faith actor. I think that there probably are bad faith actors involved. And I think the Joe Lubin in the ICO, pre-ICO era saying, hey, this is how you avoid KYC and like, investing like limits, here's how you do it. It's like, I think that's pretty shady. And there's a lot of banking that was involved right away at the beginning. JP Morgan has a huge part of Ethereum infrastructure. And so this idea that like, oh man, like it's user activated soft fork, let's slash away Coinbase and let's slash away all these government entities and regulatory entities and banks. It's like, they've kind of been in there from the get-go. So, but my point now is like, it's irrelevant whether or not you think Ethereum is a good faith product or a bad faith product. It's been compromised by the US dollar system, by stable coins, by losing the actual economic weight of the reserve asset. So let's get into that for 2 seconds. Like what's going to happen, versus the user activated soft fork, in the big block wars. Bitcoin as a native asset can exist on any fork. And we probably have forks that we don't even know that exist that we could go sign and put our economic weight into, and sell them. And a lot of us did that with Bcash and whatever. But there's so many more that exist that we've never looked at. Bitcoin can exist as a native asset on as many chains as it wants because it's just what it is, an asset directly related to that chain. There's no reserve asset to it. Stable coins are the total opposite of that. You can't have a stable coin that's $1 possibly exists with $1 value on multiple chains. It can only be pegged 1-to-1. So this merge that's about to happen where like there's going to be, proof of work ETH that still exists. We still have Ethereum Classic. That will probably get a lot of stuff. There's going to be, USDC ETH, and there'll be this sort of like, okay, where's the fork going to go? Where's the economic nodes going to go?
Does it come down to whoever has the reserve which backs it claims where it is?
Yeah, it's
so if USDC, if Circle, say we're going with we're rejecting proof of work, and we're going with proof of stake,
which they are,
which they are. Then if anyone held the USDC USDC is Circle, right? Yeah. If they held that, then people who are trading that know it has no value,
right? And it's not just like it splits the fork and now it's 50 cents on one chain. No, it's like it's $1 and it's pegged to one chain and that's it. And so USDC itself has like $55 billion worth of value, and then Tether has like another 45 or something, and then all of the other algorithmic stable coins that people use for DeFi, a lot of them are backed by USDC or Tether.
So what about DAI? Because that's slightly different.
But it's backed. I mean, there's
50% backed, right?
Yeah, but that's humongous, And
but does that mean the one that stays on proof of work only loses part of its value?
I mean, but a depeg of a stable coin is sort of a fundamental,
It just sounds like a huge
presumably they'll just have to go to the proof of stake system. They won't really have a choice. And that's kind of the point of this, right?
It sounds like such a huge shit show.
They're walking into like we think the Fed is walking into a buzzsaw. It's like Ethereum is like sprinting headfirst into a buzzsaw.
When is the merge?
Should not go.
I think it's meant to be 15th? September 15th. Yeah.
I bet it doesn't happen.
I think it probably does, but I don't think it should.
I don't think it should.
They should not, like, ETH is not the worst idea in the world. It's just one of the worst executions in the world. Like a supercomputer that's unstoppable code where you pay people to run code for you. Genius. Trying to make it economically like important or rare or scarce. Why are you making your block space artificially scarce if you want to run supercomputer code? It just doesn't, like, why are you artificially burning it? Why you don't want it to be rare? You don't want code to be scarce. You want people to be able to run code as cheaply as possible, and to artificially do it. This like hard money, ultrasound money meme is destroying Ethereum. Well, like it really is.
The problem is it's never known what it really is. It's tried to be everything, right? Yeah. It's tried to be a bit of Bitcoin, but a bit of smart contracts, a bit of this, bit of that, bit of everything.
Yeah.
Is the primary issue with the merge in that post-merge it becomes state captured?
I think it already is state captured. Yeah, I really do.
So is it? Yeah, but it's
well, you're perverting the incentives away from the miners,
yes,
and giving it to the stake validators and the holders. And so which is going to only compound over years.
So it's more state captured.
Yeah.
But of those validators, like the large ones are generally in the US, and they're the ones that are going to be OFAC compliant. So then the entire network becomes OFAC compliant.
Yeah, I think there's like 11 pools that have like almost 70% of all staked ETH, and like one of them, like Lido, is like 35%. It's like half of that. And the way that Ethereum validation works is it's difficult. Like again, we kind of talked about, it's easy to tell which would be the competitive candidate block. So I think I was saying that I was thinking of this analogy of like Bitcoin mining is like a monocrop. It's like, did we talk about this already?
No.
I know we talked about it.
We talked about
it. Yeah. It's like, it's strawberries. So if you want to go build a candidate block, you go out to the field of the mempool and you look at all the strawberries and you just pick the biggest, juiciest ones, and it's super easy and it's not that hard. Oh, the reddest, biggest, boom, and you fill your 2 megabyte basket or whatever, 4 megabyte basket, and fill it with the biggest, juiciest strawberries. Miner extracted value and staking pools is like, it's like you go to building the candidate blocks is very complicated and it takes skill. Because to actually extract the value to be like, oh, run this smart contract first, then this, front run this one, front run that trade first, and then validate, like, because you can see, what, people are doing. And so you can actually make a move before their thing goes through, and you can take out the, the juicier, that's what MEV is, miner extracted value. So that's like going to a huge farm that does tons of crazy stuff, and you don't know anything about farming or vegetables or fruit, and you have a basket and you see the strawberries and you go, okay, these are the juicy ones, and you put them in, but you miss that there's a huge potato crop under there because you didn't know that potatoes grow underground. You didn't know that there's an apple that's like, 30 feet above you.
But so what? Just that's life. Go figure it out.
Well, it's just what it does is it centralizes staking pools even more.
Oh, I see.
So you have to be in the biggest staking pool. It's not, like me and you could create a mining pool on Bitcoin that would like 99.999% produce the exact same candidate block as like the biggest mining pool, as like slush pool or whatever, right? But like Lido's versus, the next staking pool in ETH, like they're going to have very different strategies, different techniques. And when you see one pool that's doing better than the others, you go to that one. Yeah. And so you stay there. And not only do you stay there, they don't even have the code for you to even be able to leave at this point.
Because the economics incentive will always be...
Right. To stay there, and they'll make it very difficult to move pools. Right now, you literally can't even. They haven't even built that code. Do you think the developers are now going to want to build that code to be able to slash Coinbase after they just arrested a developer? No, I really don't think that they will.
I think this is why Harry Sudek says that Bitcoin mining pools will eventually trend to zero commissions.
100%.
Because that's all they can compete on.
Yeah. Stratum V2 is super important. We have to figure out ways to distribute mining rewards in a safe and private way. There's a lot of stuff we do need to figure out with mining pools, but like the incentives is always, if you see a mining pool that is perverting the financial incentives of just mining the most expensive fees, you would leave that block because it's no longer the most, like you would leave that pool because it's not the most profitable pool.
And the issue isn't so much...
And you can do it in 30 seconds too.
And the issue isn't so much itself with OFAC compliance in that we don't even have to have the argument about sanctions and whether they're beneficial or not, yada, yada. I don't particularly want to support any terrorist group.
No, but totally.
Once you're captured by OFAC compliance, you can be captured for any reason at all because you're captured. The state has full control at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say I think ETH is really running into a buzzsaw, because it's like, the only thing right now that is sort of keeping this supercomputer decentralized code thing is the miners, is the proof of work miners.
Well, to me, it just becomes essentially a company that has to follow any regulation that's thrown at it, and people want to use it have to follow any regulation that's thrown at it. It will still operate.
It's not an asset. It's like a social network company.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, it's a social network on a blockchain.
100%.
But it can no longer ever make any claim to be hard money, even though its current claims are ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's even more ludicrous now. It can never make any claims to be hard money. It can never make any claim to be decentralized. You could say it's distributed to some extent, but no way is it decentralized.
Yeah.
No way is it censorship resistant.
And the merge is going to make all that worse because they're setting, there's all this, like data debt, all this smart contracts, it's thousands of gigabytes. And so they're going to create a point where you don't actually have to validate from Genesis anymore because it's so ludicrously expensive computation wise, that they're going to set like a checkpoint and everyone's going to, start validating from this point, which only allows that, perverse, chain to exist. It's, validating from Genesis is, complete fidelity to Genesis is an incredibly important thing in Bitcoin. That's a CK term. Shout out to CK.
Love you, CK.
Yeah, love you too. Thanks for everything. It's an incredibly important part that you can validate everything back to the beginning. And in ETH, it's going to be impossible to do that. And it already is incredibly hard, but it will literally be like, you can't do it. So that's like they're LARPing on a lot of that stuff. In my opinion, it seems like decentralization theater. I don't know why you would want to do a blockchain for a lot of this stuff. I don't know why you would want to artificially make block space scarce. Like, I just think they're doing a lot of stuff that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And they have every right to do that. Open source, do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I do think that, pushing these narratives of ultrasound money and that we're decentralized and we're a supercomputer that's unstoppable code, it's like very clearly that's not true. None of that stuff is true. We're seeing that.
The thing that I think is super interesting is like, if they go ahead with this merge, there's going to be the proof of stake Ethereum. And they used to say, I don't pay too much attention to this, that there was going to be no proof of work like fork from this, that it was just going to move across to be entirely proof of stake. That now seems just clearly not true. Like, there's enough people that I think want to stay on proof of work.
Yeah, but it's somebody actually forking it. It's somebody.
I'm sure it'll happen, but if it doesn't, they're fucking stupid if that doesn't happen. But like, what does it then become a choice of? Like, do you go with the centralized, like completely compliant Ethereum, and then there's still a censorship resistant Ethereum? Like, maybe you have to.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think Ethereum is going to be around for a really long time. I just think it's going to be completely co-opted and not be a supercomputer and just be this like CBDC generator, basically.